My name is Till and this is Till Talk. All interviews are about the spiritual path, self-discovery, meditation and consciousness. Hey guys, today I'm here with Lisa. I don't know how do I pronounce your second name?
Cairns.
Cairns. And we're here in Berlin in a park, and we just did a retreat the last days, and it was super nice, and I'm super happy that she said that we can do an interview together. So yeah, here we are. Let's talk till tomorrow. And I just told her that I want to do the interview about not the typical non-duality questions, but just a little bit different. But just for the people that don't know you, maybe you could just say one or two sentences, whatever comes up, who you are and maybe what you're doing, because you are traveling around and having talks.
I talk about something called non-duality. And I do something called Satsang, which translates to meeting in truth or dispelling illusion. So that's what I do. And I talk to groups about that, generally between 20 or 40 people, something like that. Yeah.
Nice. Maybe as a first question, maybe you could explain what is non-duality for people who are turned off by spirituality or who know literally nothing about the topic.
Okay. I'm not sure if I'm that good at doing the introduction talks, but I will try my best. Non-duality is, I think, really beautiful and stands out from other religions because it's not about you getting to God or you getting to heaven or you doing something to get somewhere. It's about remembering something that's innately in everything. So non-duality is pointing to something that we already know inside of ourselves. It's not a getting to something. It's not a getting God or pleasing God or going beyond something. It's remembering what you innately are, which for me that really attracted me to non-duality, that it was something that I already had, I'd just forgotten.
Yeah. Maybe when you say it's nothing where you kind of need to arrive or get to a certain point, I often know a lot of people who have this, sometimes even still myself, this thought of, okay, I need to analyze or understand all my emotions or, improve to have a better life. And what comes up in you, when you have both people that are want to know more about the subject, but are really into improving and changing stuff
in their life?
Yeah.
I think it's very normal on the human level to want to have a better life or to improve your life, and there's nothing wrong with that in regards to non-duality. It's just that non-duality to me is a different subject. It's not about improving your life or getting somewhere. It's about remembering what is innately in us, what is here all the time that never changes. So what is in the experience that does not change. So your thoughts change, your feeling changes, your life changes, your body changes, your emotions change, your job changes, your family, your friends, everything changes, but there is actually something which doesn't change. And in non-duality, it's suggested that which does not change in us is actually the freedom in which we seek or often seek out in life. We often seek to get freedom from money or get freedom from situations. So we're attempting to find it in life, whereas non-duality suggests that there's something here that never changes, that is always free in the experience.
Mm-hmm. What was it for you in the past that Lisa kind of was looking for, was attached to?
Was attached to?
if you can still remember.
I think it's maybe the same as what a lot of people have. It was like wanting to be seen, wanting to feel safe, wanting to be secure, wanting to be loved. Yeah, those general feelings. But then they got more complicated on top. So being seen had to be not just asking to have attention or like finding like secure relationships. It might have like manifested in more dramatic ways where I felt insecure, and so then maybe I created an argument to get seen or something. So sort of, yeah. But I think in the basis of it, it was feeling safety, security, wanting to be seen, wanting to be loved.
Yeah.
These types of things. I can't think of one big attachment like I was really like one thing that I was attached to. Like when I was younger, I suppose, because we're so indoctrinated about career. Like you've got to have a career and you've got to be something. Because it sort of started happening for me really young. I suppose that was like the last big thing that would happen in my life, like in that way, was like you've got to have a career and you've got to be successful and you've got to do something. Yeah. And so there was the university, the training, and I wrote plays and things, so there was maybe the investment in that.
What kind of plays?
Weird plays. I got stuck. Like I wrote one play where it just got stuck in loops. It never really got published.
But were you like just writing them, or also like I don't know, like were you also like playing theater or something?
Yeah.
Like this? Yeah.
Yeah. So at a young age, I really failed at school. I had severe dyslexia, and so it was very. When I left school, I had a reading and writing age of a 16-year-old. I wish, of an 8-year-old. So like really, I really struggled, and so the teachers were like, "Oh well, put her into drama because this will give her more confidence." Because when you're a kid that like fails at everything at school, they're like looking for ways to give you more confidence. So they put me into drama, and I was really good at it. I was good at gym, like sports, and theatre. So those are the two things I was good at. Yeah, like making up stories and playing.
I was also like curious because this was something that Osho also talked about when like some of his sannyasin spent like a long time with him, and they kind of also saw how he was changing when they went through their process. And when they asked him like about his personality or like life before awakening, at a certain point he was like it's really hard to say, because he was like it kind of slips, like he can't really grasp it anymore. And now I was asking you like a question about your past and how was it for Lisa. Would you kind of agree that it's like gets more, I don't know, like that it's hard to remember, or just like how was this like
Yeah, I think if you stop repeating the story of yourself, like so a lot of people in society, they're repeating the story of themselves to themselves to try to find out who they are. And if you stop doing that, then you easily forget who you are or who you've been. You're like, oh yeah. So I think it goes away. One thing that a lot of friends who've had awakenings and had shift, their memory really changes.
How was this for you in the beginning? Was it like a little shock, or?
Well, I'd always had bad memory, and then it got worse. It did feel a bit like, I was like, wow, I already had challenge functioning in society with my dyslexia, and it's like, wow, how is it going to work now? Like, but it did work. Yeah.
Because I really can't imagine how it feels like. I just know like a little bit, like maybe like a little bit of a taste got of it when I was with my twin brother in India, And at the end of our time, before we wanted to go back to Germany, we wanted to say, okay, like how much money did we spend, and like just to check if it's like equal. And we didn't know how much we spent, and we were like, what did we do the last days? And we were just like thinking, and I was like, I don't know what we did yesterday and even the day before. And I feel like it's just like a little, maybe like a little taste of it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. It's like black hole. It disappears very quickly. Yeah. Yeah, so it's get like that sense of losing control, you know. It's like getting friendly and like getting used to that feeling of not being in control of everything, because you're just really present to what's actually happening. You're not controlling the timeline or the narrative or what you've done or what you've been. You're trusting more, or you're living more from what's actually happening and trusting what's actually happening rather than trying to control it all.
Yeah. I feel like it was also like the same for me when I came here for the interview. I was like, I prepared a little bit of questions, but I just see how it's going. And because I feel like when I prepare everything and it needs to do this or that way, I don't know, like it's...
Either stressful or disappointing.
Maybe both, I don't know. But definitely stressful, like because if I say I need to follow this and that, yeah, I think that's just stressful.
Yeah.
I also had another question. Like Osho, he often talked about creativity, and I was curious because I don't know if I remembered that I can't remember that you've ever talked about creativity or like really actively used the word a lot. So I was just curious, like, what is creativity for you?
I assume that Osho meant it in the term, like a spiritual terms, rather than like painting or drawing.
Yeah.
So if we take it in a spiritual term, creativity would be, this. Like if we stop believing, so this is quite intense for beginners, but if we stop believing that we are the center of the universe and we're creating our reality as a separate name, so if we stop believing in ourselves, like who we are, what we've done, what we're going to be, and we start dropping into what's actually happening, then this is like ultimate creativity. Like look how creative this is. If you stop narrating it, if you stop telling yourself like where it's come from, where it's been, like why it came, what it is, like this is grass, this is blanket, this is human, and if we stop narrating and we just really come back to what is, then the feeling of what is ultimate possibility. Like our essence is feeling like all things are possible. And then this is so creative, like look at it all. Like the swan, the water, the trees, the building, like such creativity.
So would you say that it's, probably this is even not the right word, but like an attitude or a way of looking, experiencing what?
I would say that non-duality is more dropping out of what we think is happening to what is actually happening. So most humans are just walking around in what they think is happening. And what actually is happening, I would say, is absolute creativity. Our essence, our nature is creativity, it's possibility. Like, so if we call ourselves consciousness, so that's what is often used in non-duality, that we are consciousness, that we're not a limited person, that we're consciousness. So if we name ourselves as consciousness, it's consciousness exploring itself through apparent form. And what could be more creative than that? Like, we're exploring ourselves through all of this, through the white socks, through the hands, through the what's this, a ring, bracelets, through the jumper, through the hair, through the sky, through the sounds. Like we're exploring like what is possible, what we can actually do. Not as people, but as our essence, as that potential creative energy.
Yeah. I'm also, it just came into my mind, like super always like I love the way like how you do your hair. Like it's, because the funny thing is if you are into like, if you go to satsangs or like if you're into non-duality, like often I, like at least in person, met more male teachers.
Yeah.
Like it's just the same, you know, like if they don't have a lot of hair or like very old, like they just look the same. With you it's kind of funny because like during the retreat I feel like every day you came like with a little like different thing. It was kind of yeah, just nice to see.
Yeah. No, it's really, there's not so many female non-duality speakers. Like it is a lot smaller. So it is interesting to get like a feminine expression of it, like you say, like we're used to like the Ramana characters where it's an older guy with a beard with no hair. And I think like I've been teaching now for like, I don't know, 13 or 14 years. And I think that's something that's made me a little bit popular and a little bit unpopular as well, like is the way I look. Because it's challenging, and then it's also, people are like, oh, that's actually kind of cool to have something that's a bit different. And then people are like, oh, how could she look like that and be into spirituality? So it's like got two sides to it. Yeah, I think sometimes, unfortunately, I put women off a little bit by the way I look, which is a shame, because I love women.
What do you think, how does that come? Now it even starts raining, but we hope that it...
Why do I think I put women off? I think it's a challenge to accept wisdom from a woman that looks like me. You know, if we've got a woman that's 10 years older than me, and or even someone that's younger, you know, and like has really studied lots of books and isn't dyslexic and gets all their words right. And then you've got me with my bracelets and my colours and my hair. And then they're like, this is an insult, I have to listen to her. Like, I think it can be challenging. But I think some women really love it. They're like, that's really different and that's really cool and good on her. Yeah. But I think some women, it's like, it's challenging. I think it's easier to take it from the opposite sex. I think it's easier for women to go to men teachers and men teachers to go to women teachers often.
Really?
Not all the time, but often, yeah. It's challenging, the competition, the jealousy, comparing, like, am I like them or not like them? There's all these kinds of things, and I think sometimes that can be challenging for a woman.
Yeah.
I think if I was older, if I was like 60, it would be easier for women.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if it's going to rain more or if it's going to stop.
Yeah, all the swans are now huddling. Do you think that's depicting the weather at all? They're like getting ready for a storm.
I'm not sure. Maybe I can put like something over the camera.
Oh yeah.
But do you have a jacket or so? Like I don't have anything with me.
I've got a bag you could put in there, I think.
Oh yeah.
In my bag. I have a bag in a bag.
So we're just fixing the setting, and luckily we've got a third, like a cameraman with us.
I don't have my bag? Oh yeah.
You can just, put it on top. Yeah, that looks good. Thank you.
I love it how Andreas always does everything so neatly. Like, do you see the way he put it on like very sweetly?
This is creativity.
Yeah.
But I feel like also that you can notice it, because maybe someone else would be like, no, do it faster, like, no, don't do it like this, you know, like, I feel like it, I don't know if you can say it takes something to see it, or if it doesn't take something, or, because, yeah, I'm not sure if many people would have noticed this, like, right now.
The way he puts it on so gently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Andreas's creativity. He's insanely creative. He also didn't tell you that he can do camera work as well.
Really?
I was wondering if he was going to say anything. He studied at Osho University.
Really? Now I feel a little insecure.
It's very handy to have around.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, what did we talk about before?
women and men and genders.
Yeah, the different role.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. How was it for you? Because as far as I know, you had male teachers.
I mean, yeah, I did have some daddy issue stuff. I had to act out. Yeah, I did tend to go for white-haired men. I mean, there was Roger, who wasn't white-haired, but I did have a lot of white-haired male teachers. But there also wasn't so many female teachers around. I would have liked the opportunity to have seen more female teachers, but maybe I'd have been like, like a cat, you know, like they go in front of the mirror, like.
But I feel like it's interesting that you pointed out like with dynamics that you've noticed. Maybe you can say a little bit more about it, because to be honest, like during the satsangs this time, like because I'm also like having my therapy and like I'm kind of like I would say maybe a little bit more aware of like my past than most of the other people because of my therapy background. But I noticed also during the satsang that sometimes I got jealous, you know, when other people went to the front. Where like suddenly I was like, you know, I was just feeling the jealousy, and I didn't even need to pay attention to the thoughts because I knew why it was. And maybe, I mean, you're like not as old as my mother, but maybe it's like a more like a big sister competition, but something that goes into this direction. I knew like,
Yeah.
So I was just like feeling and noticing what is happening.
Yeah, I know. I feel like this is going to get more intense for me in like another 10 years, because I'll really be like the mother figure for everybody. Yeah, I can notice this. I also notice sometimes in the room the sounds. So like so if there's like a young man coming up, for example, then some of the other young men might suddenly be like, and they're like unconsciously making sounds or doing movements. But I noticed this time that it's also happening a little bit age-related. So when an older person comes out, then the older men do the same thing. So they're like competing against like the same age range. I thought that was really interesting. I don't know if that's true all the time, but I noticed it this time a bit. That made me chuckle. Yeah, I think it's just the nature of being human. I don't know if I necessarily had the competition thing when people went up to teachers. I think I was more locked in like my own shame or embarrassment, you know, so I was happy that someone else was asking questions, you know, making the conversation flow.
Yeah, I feel like it's so interesting how like humans relate to a teacher, because it's like how this energy is playing out through what kind of filters. Like there are people who, I don't know, who ask like maybe like a lot of questions, and then people are just like too shy to go to the front, and just like how it's playing out like this energy through those different people. And I feel like sometimes it's interesting because not everyone relates the same way, for instance, to you as a teacher, than someone else.
Yeah, totally. Are you okay, Andy? I'm just thinking about your illness. Oh, okay, I thought I checked. Oh, you go under the tree.
Before I was thinking like, hopefully it doesn't rain.
And then it rained.
Like not too much.
As soon as
and I checked the weather, and I was like, no rain today, but here we are.
That's quite sweet. Yeah, no, the dynamics are fascinating when you go to see teachers. I mean, it's playing out all the time in life, these dynamics, these competitions. And when you go to see a teacher, it just gets highlighted, you know, because you're back in like a kind of a room with all these humans, which you could see as like potential kids or in the playground. And you've got all types of dynamics. And I think that you often are attracted to teachers by elements that you're missing, or elements that you want to evoke, or elements that you need to nurture you, to heal you. So for me, it was like I wanted maybe more daddy time and like this father figure, and craved that. And then like for some men, like my friend, I know that he found great inspiration in like Osho and and some other teachers like Osho to help with like his with strength and with like masculinity and with like fire, you know, like he didn't have much of a relationship with his dad, you know, so there's these different dynamics, and at times it feels like, oh, I'm playing out old games, but also in the playing out old games, you're also evoking something new in yourself as well, if you become conscious of it.
Yeah.
If you recognize that you're doing it. Like with you with Vishrant and your brother with Vishrant, like Vishrant is, oh, I don't know if I can say this. You know,
no, just go for it.
Vishrant is like such a strong masculine fire Shiva energy, you know, and I can imagine that will be like really good for you and your brother, and like evoke it more in you two, you know, like and like help you find your fire, your like more of your own fire. And yeah, I think it'll be really, when you said Osho, when you said Vishrant, I was like, yeah, that's really, I can see that. Like it's really, like with Roger, he's got such great mental clarity, and that was so good for me, you know, with my dyslexia and my confusion, and he was always so clear with everything, and for me, I was always confused by what people were saying and didn't understand, and, you know, we kind of do these things unconsciously. We find that what we need help evoking.
And how is it when, for you, because like now we've talked about like strength and like fire, and you're like maybe like for the people, like when I sat in the satsang, and I know like different different energies, because mostly maybe for the people that don't know, like on those two extremes, either you have this like Vishrant Shiva energy, or you have this hard Krishna vibes. And for you, it's like, even like when I sat in the room, like my brother was like, Hearty, this is Hearty. I was like, yeah. Like, what do you think, like, how is it for the people that you kind of attract when you have like really those soft, like this Krishna energy?
Yeah, the type of people that I attract, I think I attract a lot of empath people, so a lot of people that can feel that love energy. So I think I attract a lot of neurologically diverse people as well. So people with like dyslexia or autism or ADHD, a lot of it. And all of those tend to be more empathetic, and so tend to go more on feelings. So I think that the people that can feel that love, I sometimes also can really attract highly mental people, because I think...
What do you mean by that? Highly mental?
Very intelligent, so very in the head.
Like rational?
Yeah,
okay.
And I think that it's really good for that, because it's like pulling you back down into your body and into your heart.
Yeah.
I just worry about your camera. Should I pull it back over this side?
We're always trying to protect the camera from the rain. Look, he found a friend. I also like just noticed was like the most special interview that I had so far, like in the parky with the sun and then the rain and then everything. It was definitely the way, not the way I've planned, but yeah. Welcome to Berlin.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the type of people I do attract a lot of very mental people sometimes that need help going back into their body. It's so interesting that they kind of intuitively know, you know, they don't go to a teacher that's very mental, even though on the surface should be, like they come and they've got that very mental questions. In my head I'm thinking, yeah, you could have gone to like Rupert Spira, Roger Castillo, and you've gone to Lisa Eckhart Tolle. But it's like a natural thing that they know what they need to evoke, you know, like they unconsciously know that, you know, in going to a very mental teacher that's got a very clear explanation, it's not what they need.
But to be honest, like also what I always loved about you was like, I don't know if you call it like this in English, like you're quirky, like you're like very special, like in a sweet way, like the way because even I feel like, I don't know, like right now, like when I'm with you right now, or like during the satsangs, I could feel your energy. Mostly I just like try to sense the energy of teachers, but in the past, like I wasn't able to really feel it. So I was just like looking at, I don't know, more listening to the words or the way people look.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe if people not like consciously sense your energy, they're also really into like the way you appear and the way you
My character.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love your character. I'm really obsessed with it. So maybe you also have people that are coming like feel drawn to the character even.
The character, yeah. Yeah, that part I find harder to see. You know, when like it's hard to see your character. It's like that just happens in the moment. Yeah.
What kind of came up right now was like, because it's raining, and you know, like maybe, you know, like I could say, oh no, it's raining, it's not good, or da 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 da, you know, like whatever the mind is coming up with. But like it's still like somehow like the same experience as it was 50 minutes ago when the sun was shining.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. Only it might affect the audio a little, but that can also be really nice. But just internally, like if we take away like all the technicality, like it just doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what's actually happening, always. Everything else is mental and is subject to change because we're thinking about it and thoughts change. But what doesn't change is this moment. So if you're always here, then you're always free. It's very simple. If you're here, you're free. No expectation. It just can be as it is. Ultimate creativity. And this is such a good place to people watch. People and animal watch.
I also want to check on my phone if there was another question that I wanted to ask you.
Do you think that your microphone still gets heard? Are they quite good microphones?
They're quite loud because like last like before I came to your retreat, I was like before at a different one, but like a German teacher, and during the breaks I also recorded videos, and after the satsang I was so gone, I started like taking the video, and when I was done with the video, and I was like, where's my mic? And it was in my pocket. I was like, oh no. And I didn't notice it. So yeah.
And it still picked up the audio.
I needed to do it again.
Oh, you needed to.
It was a completely different video in the end, but yeah. But like it's kind of nice that you notice it, because I always, I don't know how it was for you or like how it is for you, but like when I'm, for instance, like in your presence or someone else, I'm sometimes like I just forget about like all those things, and I'm just like, huh? Like what did I wanted to ask?
Here you go, no mind.
Yeah, like even like sometimes I think it's smart to write down my questions, because otherwise I'm like, I don't know what I wanted to ask.
Yeah. Yeah, but the microphone, the reason that I'm always remembering is because I do so many interviews and so many talks, and I've had so many where the microphone has been bad, so now it's like typed into my brain, the microphone. The camera can go, that's okay, but the microphone is the most important.
Yeah.
Because you could put in other shots, so you could put in some nature.
Maybe like another question, like because I also have this therapy background, and I know you've been also into psychology.
Yeah.
What is your, I don't know, opinion on when it comes to people who really think they need to analyze, you know, like all their stories, and like, you know, like to heal and everything, in comparison to like, maybe like in contrast to this non-dual teachings, like, does it go hand in hand, or is it like a, yeah?
In the end, it doesn't. It's like non-duality is a different subject in a way, but what happens simultaneously is that as you get more and more into this notion of what consciousness is and what you truly are, you begin to become more present, and by becoming more present, you begin to see all the lies that the character is telling itself. So in a way, they're two different realms. Like non-duality is waking you up to that which is beyond the character, but inevitably, when that happens, you're going to become hyper aware of what the person's up to. So you're going to go through this like psychological process of really understanding what you're doing in each moment, like what you're seeking for, like what happened with your parents, for example, like what energies you're repeating again, what stories you're repeating again. Not because you do that to get to consciousness, but it's just a natural thing that's going to happen as you become more present. All the lies that you've been telling yourself and all the deceptions and all the old patterns are just going to become very obvious because you're paying attention. You're not getting distracted by being on the phone all the time or arguing with people or thinking about things. You're going to be noticing. So when you're in social situations, you're noticing what your body's doing, like whether it's afraid or uncomfortable, or you just. So I think that most of the time, when you begin to get into non-duality, you're most likely going to get into therapy simultaneously and go through a process of conceptualizing the character, understanding the character, and accepting the character for what it is, like the personality structure. And all those bits that are hidden are going to come into the light.
How is it for you, like, because as far as I can tell, you're also very sensitive, and like over time when you become more empty, like even when you hang out with me right now or with other people, like, do you often sense their emotions or like what is going on, or how's that?
Yeah, but it's not like really clear. Like, so if an emotion comes up, it's not like I necessarily know whose emotion it is. There's just an emotion that comes up. So what way I generally can tell it is through spending time with someone and then not spending time with them.
Oh, like over and over, and you see if something similar is coming.
So it's not like really clear, but sometimes it can be really clear. And generally, I can't do huge amounts of socializing or talking throughout the day. So when I do the retreats, I have to just do the retreats and then spend the rest of the time in silence. And that includes like not watching the handy, not going through the phone or watching TV. Like if I'm going to, I have to, TV to me and speaking to someone is the same, so I have to weigh up how many hours I can do a day of like mental stuff or writing emails or something. So I'm limited now. I can't spend lots of time in the intellect or mental, because socializing is quite conceptual. We might not realize that, but there is like a lot of reading each other's behaviors, and there is like words we're using and translating. It does take a certain amount of brain activity in a very specific way. That might not be from awakening, that could also be from my dyslexia as well, that it's a bit harder for me.
Stopped rain.
Stopped.
Maybe one or two last questions.
Yeah.
But so far I really enjoy the interview.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, here's something on the list. I think you also mentioned this word. I don't know if it was during this retreat, but like I often pick up Osho's words because I've read a lot about him. So he often talked about celebration, and I think you also sometimes use the word celebration. So I was just curious, like regardless of what Osho or anyone else is saying, like what does celebration mean to you?
I would say this is celebration, like the green grass. Like, I mean, look how green it is. Like, isn't that such a miracle that this is all appearing, and then the little dots of water on it, and then the colors, our faces, these words, like it's like life is like, here I am, here I am, here I am. Yeah.
So a celebration is nothing about like a specific emotion or like joy or...
Well, generally I would say that life is a celebration, like the very essence of life, but I do also use celebration in terms of like, I use it in, like, so if somebody, say if you're practicing becoming aware, so putting attention in attention, or putting your attention in I am, or becoming aware of your emotions, a lot of the time you beat yourself up when you don't do it. And so when you notice that you're not putting your attention in attention, you're like, oh man, I've just spent like 2 hours like not doing it and lost in thought. Whereas I would see it differently. I would see it every time that you become aware of something. Like, so even if you've been lost in thought for like 5 hours, that time when you become aware, it's like, what grace, what celebration. So that's often how I use celebration, is like celebrating every time you notice something. Like every time you notice like the feeling of your bum on the seat, or like the sky, or you're not lost in your concepts or what you're thinking, you're just coming back to what's actually happening. And I got taught that by the Buddhists, you know, to not see practice as something that you beat yourself up with, but like as a, even if it's like 10 hours that you've been lost in negativity.
Do you want a tissue?
I'm all right. Thank you, though. You came
because
prepared.
I'm always wait. I think I've got one.
Okay,
because
I'll take one. Just
I
in
always
case.
I hope so. If not,
You came prepared. You've just done 3 days or 4 days of talks with me. Me and my tissue.
I have everything, but no, not it.
I'm okay with those.
I don't know if this is fresh. No, this is not fresh. Rather not. So no tissue for Lisa. But yeah, I remember that the same thing you told me in the satsang, like not like being frustrated about like when you lose the attention, somehow get lost, but like more celebrating it every time you come back.
Even if you act out a dynamic with someone, at the moment you realize you're acting out a dynamic, it's like, whoa, because you're breaking. So it's not like, oh, I acted it out, so therefore I'm like failing. You're acting it out to become aware of it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's always this positivity on practice.
Yeah, and it's so interesting, like to watch how the character is acting it out. Like it's not so. It's kind of more entertaining. I feel like I feel less anxious and it's more entertaining. Like, oh, not again. Oh no, I can see what's happening. But sometimes even I feel like the mind is so tricky. I'm like, I know what's happening, but then I'm like, oh no,
I'm doing
like something else is like starting to appear. Or, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, the mind is very intelligent and cunning.
I feel like it gets so subtle over time. In the beginning, it's like so obvious.
Yeah, you can hear it, and it's like.
But when it's like just like it's really subtle, like subtle. No. Last question for today.
Okay.
Yeah, the last question would be, if you could only say one sentence.
Yeah.
To help someone or support someone to start living, what would it be?
Well, can I say 2 sentences?
Okay. You can make 2 long ones.
Yeah, two long ones. It's just love yourself and understand what yourself is. Ta-da!
Yeah, this was even one sentence. And understand.
Oh yeah. I just put a nice little comma, and then we're done. One sentence.
So love yourself and
understand what yourself is.
Yeah, it's kind of like it got both aspects, like this compassionate one and this like knowing one.
Yeah, yeah. And then it's also loving yourself on the human level and then knowing yourself on the deeper level. Yeah. It just came out that I never, don't know where. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe before we end, like I've just like attended a, I don't know if you called it retreat or conference in Berlin. Maybe you could say, I don't know, I probably uploaded in like maybe 1 or 2 weeks, like maybe new events or I don't know, you have a book club or whatever you're offering that people can kind of know if they want to.
Yeah, so I study these 2 books. This is the main thing that I offer. I do events, but like 3 or 4 a year events. So you can find them on my website. My next one is in Spain, event, in person. But I think that's sold out or nearly sold out now. But the main thing that I do is I do an online, what I call book club, which is so beautiful. And I study 2 different books, Nisargadatta Maharaj, which is more non-duality from the negative perspective, not bad as in negative perspective, but there's like this neti practice, not this, not that. And then I study another teacher called Nanda Mahima, which is more the love perspective, and it's more the everything perspective. It's this and that. So you got the not this, not that, and then the everything perspective. And we study their books and just use it a way to explore this subject and each person. And there's only 6 people in the group, so it's very intimate.
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put her YouTube channel in the video description. So if you want to reach out, and the link to your website as well. Yeah. Maybe to the end, like this is also something, because you just said it, what I liked about your teaching, that it's like you have like this part of devotion and this like non-dual part. And I feel like it's so funny because actually in devotion, I mean, there's 2, right? Someone like the devotee and like, let's say like, you know, like I'm devoted to you. Yeah. You know, it's like 2. But in non-duality, it's actually like no duality. So it's like a paradox somehow. Yeah.
And they often come together because non-duality without the derivation sometimes can be a bit cold. Like so often
very
they
dry.
come, dry. It comes together. Like my friend always says that Bhakti, which is the devotion side, and like Advaita, the non-dual side, they have to merge.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to end the interview. So thank you to everyone who made it to this point. And if you want to get in contact with Lisa, you know where you can find her. And see you soon. And that's it for today. Now we've got the sun.
To the end.
Bye bye.
Bye. Oh, that was so sweet.
Let's talk till tomorrow.